The 3rd ID Commanding General talks about Warriors Walk.
A local Army spouse advances in the Rising Star singing competition.
And 3rd Armored Brigade competes in football.
Welcome to this week's Marne Report. I'm Caitlin Kenny.
And I'm Sergeant Bob Yarbrough with 4th Brigade Public Affairs. Our top story this week is about the Commanding General of the 3rd Infantry Division. Major General Mike Murray spoke about a special place at Fort Stewart, which serves as a reminder to soldiers and families of the meaning of their call to duty. Gail McCabe has more.
It's known as Warriors Walk, a tree-lined path established in 2003 to mark the passing of Marne soldiers lost in Iraq and Afghanistan.
And when this memorial started, and General Webster, a couple commanding generals before me, started this, nobody ever envisioned this getting to 468 trees. We started off with eastern redbud trees. We just recently completed replacing every one of these trees with a white flowering crepe myrtle. And the problem was the eastern redbuds were about 100 miles too far south and about 100 miles too far east, and they were dying. The thing that drove me to replace these trees is I did not want a family to drive in and find a dead tree for their soldier.
Warriors Walk stretches along both sides of the division parade field, a half-mile in all. At the base of each tree is a name, their unit, a flag. Several have mementos left by families, fellow soldiers, senior Army leaders. Sergeant First Class Paul Smith, the first Medal of Honor recipient from Operation Iraqi Freedom, is among those honored here.
The symbology is really the sacrifice he made for his soldiers. Every day I come in for PT, or I'm going home from work, or I'll go home to get some lunch or whatever it is, you'll see soldiers over here walking. And they'll go visit trees from soldiers from that unit, and they'll talk about what that soldier did. They'll talk about the sacrifice, not only from the soldier standpoint, but from the family standpoint.
The headquarters of 3rd Infantry Division left for Afghanistan in support of the end of Operation Enduring Freedom and the transition to Resolute Support. They will return home in a year. Gail McCabe, Fort Stewart, Georgia.
The holidays are all about family, food, and football. Soldiers from 3rd Armored Brigade Combat Team, 3rd Infantry Division, spent the morning competing amongst the battalions for an important piece of metal. Specialist Jardine Matthews has more.
Early mornings are common for soldiers from 3rd Armored Brigade Combat Team, 3rd Infantry Division, but this one is all about fun and games. Sledgehammer soldiers battle it out on the football field to see who will be the winner of this year's Turkey Bowl on Kelly Hill. With the first game kicking off at 7:30 in the morning, each battalion scrambles for a chance to win the trophy, but in the end, 110 Field Artillery claims the prize.
It helps us foster the camaraderie and that spirit of friendly competition. It's that one time that we can all get together and come out and play some football and try to be the best of the best.
The Turkey Bowl marks the 3rd championship game for the battalion within 2 weeks and gave them the opportunity to play against the Columbus Lions, the community's professional indoor football team.
It's good to come out and play with the soldiers. They were excited, and it was a good time just to get out there and compete with them. Anytime you can bring two groups together and do something positive, it's always a plus.
After a hard-fought battle, the Lions defeat the Rock Support, ending their 3-game winning streak. But in the end, the sportsmanship and camaraderie displayed on the field shows everyone is a winner. Specialist Jardine Matthews, Fort Benning, Georgia.
110 Field Artillery also won the division and post-flag football championships. Great job, Redlegs. Retired NFL player Herschel Walker visited the soldiers of SOAR recently to talk about his struggle with dissociative personality disorder. Photojournalist Zach Renstrom sat down with the NFL veteran and brings us his remarkable story of strength and perseverance.
Herschel Walker, obviously he's a sports legend, but he's also known as one of the toughest running backs ever in the National Football League, and as well during his college career at University of Georgia. So here's this tough guy, thousands of yards, Heisman Trophy winner. He was a U.S. Olympian on the bobsled team in '92. He's a mixed martial arts fighter, 5th-degree black belt in Taekwondo. So the guy is tough beyond all comprehension. To have a guy like that come in and say, hey, I had a personal issue, get rid of the stigma, and say he saw out help, and the help actually worked for his life and brought him to where he is today. that's a huge message for our soldiers that might be dealing with some similar things, a lot of pressures in life, that they can draw a parallel with Herschel Walker. May not be sports, in our case is service, military service, combat deployments, that type of thing. Wear and tear on the mind and body.
I took away that, I mean, everybody has their breaking points and their weaknesses, but throughout you just need to be strong, and truly anybody can overcome anything. I think it's good to get somebody who's widely known to show individuals that it affects everybody. It's not just one person that's affected, or you're not alone.
I have a husband that is out of the Air Force now, and he had some injuries that made him a little depressed, so it was nice to hear an uplifting story of someone that overcome that.
You have so much stigma with mental health. There's so much stigma that they assume that you're crazy, something is wrong with you, and I had an opportunity to go to a hospital, and I found that you can get better if you go out and you work and think of it in a positive light. So one of the big reasons I wanted to come out is just tell everyone, guys, there's nothing wrong with anyone. The problem is we put stigma on everything, and what we need to do is help them, because they are the reason that we have the freedom that we have. When I needed help, it really wasn't hard at all, and the reason why is there was no shame for myself, because I got to the point it didn't matter to me anymore what people thought about me. And what matters is what my ex-wife was thinking about me, what I could have done to her. What matters is what I could have done to myself. So I didn't really worry about what anyone else was thinking about. And at the same time, I wasn't worried about whether anyone thought I was macho or not macho, because that's one of the reasons I think a lot of people of our service, they got to be so tough. They got to be so, real tough people. But then you don't have to be a real bad person to go out to get help. The advice I would give to a lot of our vets are, hang in there, because you are the true reason we're here.
In fiscal year 2014, Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield together recycled 247,880 pounds of plastic. This equates to approximately 123 tons of plastic not going to our landfill. It is amazing what we can do when we work together.
By continuing to work together, we will meet our goal and reduce solid waste by 50% by 2015. Reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Soldiers use new ideas to refine their marksmanship skills and mechanics. Sergeant Dean Gannon spoke with some of the trainers.
While soldiers are familiar with the Engagement Skills Trainer Technology, or EST, some Fort Stewart leaders are pioneering new training techniques. Instructor and developer for the Raider Initiatives Group, Army Staff Sergeant Matthew Garrett, talks about his methods.
What we use the EST for is to help soldiers learn the basics. We work on their fundamentals, their body posturing, the way they hold the weapon. We take them through the act of integrated firing by making them think of themselves and the weapon together as a complete weapon system. Just the change in language and approach towards rifle marksmanship produces pretty outstanding results when we actually go out to the range, because we spend a great deal of time working on target acquisition and then recoil management, which are two things that are pretty sorely neglected in the current system. Our goal is to create confident, competent, and capable shooters.
Virtual Training Support Center instructor, Mr. Rick Byers, has noticed progress.
I've seen a lot of improvement over the years with the soldiers that have come in and used the EST. You've got trained NCOs that are there with the training aids and the information that we have and the experience that we have to actually get those soldiers that couldn't qualify or barely qualify to actually shoot sharpshooter or expert. You get the same realistic feedback of shooting the weapon system as you would on the range. The only thing we can't simulate is the smell of gunpowder.
Reporting for 1st Brigade Raiders, I'm Army Sergeant Dean Gannon.
December is Drunk and Drug Driving Awareness Month. In observance of this month, the Army Substance Abuse Program held an exercise demonstrating the effects of making the wrong choice behind the wheel.
The mock accident exercise was a collaboration between ASAP, the Directorate of Emergency Services, Fort Stewart, and Hinesville Fire Departments, and they employed the use of cadets from the Youth Challenge Academy as actors. Photojournalist Zach Renstrom takes us inside the exercise.
Fort Stewart Fire, Fort Stewart EMS, exercise. Report of a two-vehicle motor vehicle accident with injuries and entrapment.
Central Chief 3 copies, be responding. We're working with the ASAP office, and before the soldiers go on holiday leave and block leave, we'd like to give them an example or show them what happens if they are involved with a DUI incident and some of the repercussions of that.
You show Chief 3 on scene. Chief 3 will be establishing command.
Soldiers today they're inundated with these type of messages, but sometimes it takes an actual visual for them to really grasp the seriousness of what can happen and the repercussions. Sometimes soldiers don't think about what the repercussions down the road of what could happen.
Central, show engine 3 on the scene. Be advised, we've got a 2-vehicle accident. We'll be out investigating.
We are all fighting the same mission. We're fighting the same mission to prevent drunk driving and have a safe holiday season during the month from 1st through the 31st of December. But it's just not December, it's always.
Medic 3, Chief 3, we got Lifestar overhead.
This was a prime opportunity for emergency assets to come together, fire department, police, and rescue workers to come to a scene of a mock accident where there was one person that was dead on arrival and the other ones were injured. But the most important message was for the person who actually played the role of the soldier who caused the accident, that was driving impaired, and then 2 of his battle buddies actually left without leaving it with their life lost. If you could tell a soldier one thing or you can talk about one thing, but it's more effective when they can visually see it and see the effects of it. Some people might not have seen a bad accident before, but the fortunate thing about it is when they visually see something, it really sinks in a little further and it causes change.
We have one patient extra seated at this time. He's being backboarded and loaded up. Be ready, preparing to fly out.
Further, 1 patient extricated, being prepared to fly.
It appears that this guy's lost his pulse and he's in cardiac arrest, so we'll go ahead and try to resuscitate him, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it.
For the casual drinkers or for the people that think that, maybe 1 or 2 won't hurt them, a wise decision is just that. Any amount of alcohol or any type of illegal substance or any type of substance that's taken in the body that affects their mind or their physical abilities has the potential to injure someone or for someone to lose their life.
The question always comes up, what's the value of a life? And so if this message is taken by these soldiers and they're impacted and it changes their behavior, then I do believe it's well worth it.
The message I want the soldiers or anybody to take away from this exercise, despite who you are, what position you have, drop your pride and get a ride.
Floyd, it doesn't look like that kid's going to make it. You might as well let that guy notify his command so they can get a hold of his family. Medic 3 is going to be in service. 1 is with Lifestar, the other is being transported to the MP station, and we have 1 DOA on scene.
The safety of the community is important to Team Stewart. From November 24th to the 30th, there was 1 DUI in 3rd ID.
Don't let alcohol end your career, dog-faced soldiers. Have some Marne pride. Don't drink and drive.
Coming up on the Marne Report, a Fort Stewart spouse advances in Operation Rising Star.
Budget what you spend and don't overdo it. Be shopping.
What I do is I plan ahead and make sure I have the right amount of money saved up so I can spend it on my family and friends.
I have a savings account that I start out from January, and I maintain like a certain amount of money throughout the year until I get to January, and I always stay within that budget.
Why didn't you answer the phone? No, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of you telling me, oh, I'm in formation. Oh, my phone's on vibrate. I can't answer information. No, I'm tired of this.
Sir, we'll definitely give
Oh, yeah, my platoon sergeant. When is this gonna stop? Were you talking to her again?
I don't even know who you're talking to.
You're lying. You're lying.
There's no.
I know you've been talking to her. I looked through your phone. I saw the text.
That's my platoon sergeant.
Whose phone number was that then?
That's my platoon sergeant.
Oh, you have a new platoon sergeant. No, that's
She just got to the unit.
No, I'm sick of this. I'm tired of this.
Central Tango 1, show us out at 7414.
Roger, Tango 1, 1009.
Roger, we actually hear some disturbance. We're approaching right now. We'll notify when we have more information.
Roger, ma'am, be advised, there's no weapons registered to the quarters. How copy?
Good copy. Specialist Smith, get down on the ground. Get down on the ground now. Turn around, turn around, turn around.
Cross our ankles, do it now.
Interlace your fingers, put them on top of your head. Do it now. Let go of your hands. Let go. Let go. Yep. Specialist Smith, at this time we are apprehending you for the suspected murder of your husband, child endangerment, and domestic violence. Do you understand?
If you or someone you know may be a victim of domestic violence, don't wait until it's too late. Call us for help.
Welcome back to the Marne Report. Are you looking for some fun things to do with your family? Then let's check in with Molly Cook from FMWR, who is here to give us some information on an upcoming event.
Hi, I'm Molly Cook, and this is your MWR Minute. Holbrook Pond Recreation Area will soon be decked out in holiday decorations that will delight children and adults alike during the Ho Ho Holbrook Holiday Festival of Lights event from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. on December 11th through 13th. Head on out to enjoy great family fun on a 20-minute hayride that will feature stunning holiday lights and displays. Additional activities include a meet and greet with Santa and Mrs. Claus, s'mores and marshmallow roasting, gifts and treats for sale at the new Kringle Market, a kiddie train ride, and so much more. The cost is $8 per car on Thursday, December 11th, and $10 per car on Friday and Saturday, December 12th and 13th. Can't make it to the festival? Motorists are welcome to ride through the Holbrook area at no charge to see the decorations from December 14th through 26th during the hours of 6 and 9:30 p.m. For more information, call 912-767-4316. To learn more about our upcoming MWR events, visit us online at www.stewartmwr.com or www.huntermwr.com. FMWR, we're your complete destination for families, fun, and fitness.
Thank you, Molly. The Christmas and New Year's holiday closures and change of hours for family morale, welfare, and recreation facilities are available online. For Fort Stewart, go to stewartmwr.com, and for Hunter Army Airfield, go to huntermwr.com.
Celeste Benton, an Army spouse, is competing against 5 others in the 2014 Operation Rising Star competition. Celeste won the Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield Rising Star competition in October.
She and other finalists from across the Army will perform in front of a live audience December 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th. You can view their performances the day after each round at oprisingstar.com. Viewers will have 24 hours to vote for their favorite performers after each round. The winner will be revealed December 13th. Good luck, Celeste. And as we find ourselves in the middle of the holiday season, what better time than to learn a little bit about party and table etiquette? Elvia Kelly has more.
Hi, I'm Elvia Kelly. You might know me from On the Frontline for the Marne Report, but today I'm here with Martha Jackson. She is the catering manager at Club Stewart, and she's going to go over table setting etiquette and party planning.
Thank you so much, Elvia. I'm excited to speak with you. Well, first we're going to discuss proper table setup. What I have here is as close to a formal table setup as you'll have in this area. We don't do it where it's very casual, laid-back atmosphere in the South. But what we have today is, I'd say, just like a nice evening setup for a nice dinner.
Okay, so if I go into a restaurant and I see that there is a table setup, I think fancy. How can you show someone don't be scared of the setup?
Very simple. Basically, each one of these items here are they're utilitarian. They have a good use. You've got your teaspoon, your soup spoon, your salad knife and fork, simple steak knife, and your dinner knife. And honestly, I mean, I know it looks complicated and you think, oh gosh, like this is just too much, I'm overwhelmed. But really it's not. Each item has a place. It's the best way to eat the food that you are being served. You've got your bread knife. You don't want to mix your bread knife with your salad knife. You don't want the bread, the butter flavoring your salad. So you keep those items separate with other utensils.
And I see that we have the coffee cup here and it's angled this way. So I'm assuming that I can just grab the cup?
Yes.
Okay.
When you're setting a place or setting a table for your guests, there are certain directions each thing goes in. Your coffee cup, if you set your table correctly, will always have your handle at 5 o'clock. You always place your water glass atop your knife and your wine glass slightly below and to the right. And it's all about ease of service. Like you said, you easily pick up your coffee cup. You reach up and grab your wine. It's all separate, kept separate, and then it's just easy.
Okay, Martha. So I'm gonna have a 5-course meal. When they bring out the plate, which fork should I use and what are the rest of the plates?
Well, first of all, you've got your charger on the bottom just to add a little bit of, flair, pizzazz to your table. They're going to bring out, if you're doing a 5-course dinner, most likely your salad. You've already enjoyed your hors d'oeuvres while you were mingling with your guests. So when they bring out your salad, you've picked up your napkin. You're going to, they'll place your salad right here. And your first fork, you always start on the outside and you work your way in. The same over here, you start on the outside and work your way in. So you've got your teaspoon to stir your tea with. Once you add your sugar or sweetener. If you need a knife with your salad, you go to the first knife on the end and you've got your salad knife. So that's your first course. And once you're finished with each course, you will lay your fork and knife down at the 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock positions, and your server will know to pick up your plate and move on to the next course.
So I noticed your napkin on the side. Where does it go?
Well, good question. I know some may think that it is a shrimp boil when they sit down, no matter what they're doing, but napkin does not go in your shirt. Napkin does not go, tossed on the table and casually picked up to dab. When you take your napkin off of your place setting, you want to just casually place it across your lap. If you're in a formal environment, you want to ever so casually dab lightly. You have to think, how you're representing yourself, your family, if you're with your family, your company, if you're with your company, and just remain elegant at all times. Even your napkin sends off symbols and signs of of the image you want to present. So we've discussed the first course. So once they clear your salad and they move on to your next course, let's say it's a delicious soup. So they've brought the soup out. You've got your soup again on the far. You want to start on the right. We've used this to stir our tea with. We've got our teaspoon that I've moved. The very next spoon would be our soup spoon. So when they drop down the soup, you're going to just enjoy your soup with the spoon, and again, you'll just place it inside the bowl once it's done and they will pick it up and head on out.
Surely but slowly, the forks and the spoons and the utensils are leaving as the dishes are going.
Yes, you don't keep them there. I mean, you can if you want to, but it's just a mess and there's no point. So remember, you always leave them in the same position. Now, if you are dining by the international etiquette, if you're using those protocols, you will place instead of this time, they place them like this, so that their servers know my meal is over, I can pick up the plate and bring out the next course.
And that's good to know for those who are traveling internationally.
Yes. Okay. Yes, it is. And again, we've discussed everything but, I'm going to say, the dessert forks and the dessert spoon. When you're setting your tables for your guests, you want to make sure that you have your dessert fork and your dessert spoon facing the right direction. Again, these things may not mean anything to 60-70% of the guests, but there's always that 30% that are going to come to your party and go, they're smart. They've got their stuff in order. So it's the little things that matter. You want to remember that your fork, you want to place the handle end pointing to the left, and think of it as if your car backing into a driveway. You want to make sure that this is the direction that the handle's pointing. The same with the spoon. The spoon, the handle's always on the right side. I believe I heard once, dessert is right, put it on the right side. You want to make sure it's always in the exact place.
Okay, and during this 5-course meal, at what point does the bread come out so that you can use the bread knife?
The bread comes out, it just depends on the situation. You've got folks who will bring out the bread in the very beginning with your salad. I know some of the restaurants that you go to will bring out like a basket of bread, or they bring it out, before anything comes out. The appropriate way is when your salad comes out, you have your bread to eat with your salad. Usually there's a butter, either a butter rosette or a butter pad that's placed at, I believe it's 6 o'clock right there. So you have your butter in your hand and you just pick it up and you butter your bread. It's nice and elegant. The thing that that I like to impress on everyone is setting up, when you're doing a setup of 1 table, 2 tables, 10 tables, you want to make sure that it's always the same. Every place setting looks exactly the same. If you realize I only have, I've got 15 people coming, I only have 7 salad forks, well then do something different. Don't use 7 salad forks and 7, spoons or whatever. I mean, you want it to be the same, because even if it's not important to everyone, like I said, it says a lot about you, and it shows that you care about your guests. Okay. You care enough to make a difference and give them the right setup.
After our 5-course meal and we're finished, that normally is associated with a party.
Yes.
Now, what tips and advice do you have to those out there who may want a party plan for something important?
I would say you want to focus on your guest list. You need to the most important factors are going to be your guest list. Why? Because you want to, before you can consider your menu, before you can consider your budget, you have to think about who's coming to your party. What kind of foods do they like to eat? Do they have allergies? Do they have certain trendy fascinations with foods that you want to focus on to either impress them or make them feel special? Once you have an idea of who's coming and what they can and cannot eat, you want to sit down and create a menu, a recipe of the different menu items you're going to be offering, and create a budget. You want to, just because you're having a party doesn't mean we want to break the bank. I mean, there is life after that party. You want to have more parties, so we have to do this reasonably. We have to be sensible. So we create a budget. We look at what you're going to be serving to all of your guests, and you just make sure that it's a well thought out, planned event.
So at what point do we consider, say, the color of the napkins that we use, or the tablecloth, or the flowers?
We want to think about the theme of your party. If you're hosting a birthday party for your 10-year-old, what are her favorite colors? What does she want to work into the theme? If her favorite colors are purple and black, but she wants a Frozen party, you want to think, how can you work all that in? Because you want your theme and their favorite colors for the linen to match. So it's usually after you've considered your menu and all that, because that's very important. After you've considered your menu and your budget and your guest list, then you want to start thinking about themes and colors and what kind of napkin to use, what kind of tablecloth, things of that nature. And when I host parties, when I plan parties with my guests, I take multiple things into consideration. If we are at an off-venue site, before we really establish what we're going to do for decorations, we need to look at, the walls, the flooring, the ceiling, what will go well with it. Do you want to walk into a room and go, ugh, because it's, the colors are just jarring because what you've chosen doesn't match the room. You want to make sure that everything you do is within keeping of the whole picture. It's while you want to make sure there's a life after that party, you got to plan, we don't want to go too overboard. At the same time, you want your guests to feel like they are the most important person to you in that 2 to 5 hour time frame that they're with you in your event, and that means taking all of these things into consideration.
And that means that we have a strategy, and we have to schedule way in advance to plan for something like this.
Strategy, yes, and that's a good way to look at it. I mean, even event planning, it may not be, you know, fighting a war or any of that, but event planning is a very strategic thing because you want to make sure everyone's happy, everyone is safe, food allergies, you got to think about that. And again, that everybody is happy and wants to come around for the next party.
I'm Elvia Kelly.
I'm Martha Jackson. Ciao!
To find out what's happening across Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield, we turn to the Frontline newspaper.
Let's check in with Managing Editor Elvia Kelly for this week's news.
Hi, I'm Elvia Kelly, and I'll be giving you the latest details from the Frontline. For the December 4th edition, check out the Marne Voices Speak Out on page 2A, the Behind the Lens page found on page 3A, which is a full photo spread with an accompanied story spotlighting the Marne Division. And last but not least, congratulations to our mothers and fathers who welcomed a new addition to their family. The birth announcements can be found on page 3B. The Marne Voices are those in the Marne community who were asked a question for Marne Voices Speak Out. Check out what they had to say on page 2A. Check out the Behind the Lens page, always found on page 3A in the Frontline. It's also called the photo page because it has a series of photos and a story that captures the Marne Division. The birth announcements are contributed to the Frontline from Wynn Army Community Hospital. They can be found on page 3B every week. Join us on the Marne Report to catch the most current news and events found in the Frontline across Fort Stewart, Hunter Army Airfield, Kelly Hill, and online at our Frontline website at stewartfrontline.com.
Coming up, see what you missed during Marne Week.
That's a tricky one, but for myself, what I try to do is I start by saving money a couple of months prior. For example, let's say after Thanksgiving, start putting some money aside so that way when the holidays do come around, I have enough money to buy what I need to buy for people, friends and family and all that stuff. So that way, I won't have to go ahead and destroy my credit cards or spend what I have in my pocket. So it kind of helps. And then two, one gift per person kind of helps too, instead of buying a whole lot. Kids, what are kids gonna need? Like, maybe 1 or 2 video games or toys, and then mostly clothes. But you could bargain shop also, so that helps a lot.
If you remember that the holiday time period it's not so much about pleasing the shopaholic in you, but it's about purchasing meaningful gifts and spending time with those you love. It'd be fun.
This year, I started saving in September, and I have a separate savings account that I put money into that's just for the holidays.
I can't do this anymore. I can't do us.
What's wrong with you?
It's not
You are dealing with pain, anger, a heaviness. It feels like there is no way out. It seems like you are in this by yourself, battling alone. But you are part of one Army family, shoulder to shoulder with a community there to get you through these hard times. There is no shame, no guilt in seeking out help. So if you are struggling, feeling depressed, or even having thoughts of suicide, it is time to talk to someone. Your Army family is committed to finding you the strength and hope you need to rebound from adversity. Because, above all else, our most essential resource is you.
Welcome back. In this week's Task Force Fitness, Marne Division soldiers from throughout Georgia converged on Fort Stewart to compete in this year's Marne Week and showed who is the Rock of the Marne within the division. Sergeant Dean Gannon shows you some of the action you may have missed.
The roar could be heard from over a mile as dog-faced soldier teams and singles of the 3rd Infantry Division battled each other across Fort Stewart. First Lieutenant Andrew Fant, Assistant S3 of Headquarters and Headquarters Company, 2nd Battalion, 7th Infantry Regiment, is participating in Marne Week for his second time.
I think Marne Week's a great chance to get out and just kind of relax a little bit, let everybody let their hair down, step away from the daily grind a little bit and just have some good friendly competition. Sometimes it gets a little unfriendly, but we try to limit that as much as possible. You know, some people get a little bit caught up in the moment occasionally, but it's all in good fun, so it's a good time.
Marne Week is comprised of approximately 25 events, one being the Commander's Tug of War that brought some of the most spirited fans of the week. Reporting from Fort Stewart, I'm Army Sergeant Dean Gannon.
That's all for this week's Marne Report.
You can watch the Marne Report in the morning at 5, 5:30, and 8 and 8:30, noon, and in the evening at 5 and 5:30, 9 and 11. Or as always, check us out on the web at stewart.army.mil and on Vimeo at vimeo.com/3iv. Have a great week. Rock of the Marne.